just average, tap level. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Ya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parikacharya Satir Sadashi Srimada's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopanath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Garanga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Devaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Devaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10. Chapter 61, and we will be doing verses 20 and 21 today. These are two parts of one question being asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Shukadev Goswami. Sri Rajavacha Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradaduhitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Pratikshate Etad Akyahi Me Vidvan Dvishor Vaivahikam Mita Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradaduhitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Paritchate Etad Akyahi Me Vidvan Dvishor Vaivahit Kamita Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradaduhitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Pratikshate Etad Akyahi Me Vidvan Dvishor Dvishorvaiva hikamita. Sri Rajavacha Katram Rukmyari Putraya Padam Duhitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Pratikshate Etadakyahi me vidvan Dvishorvaivahi kamita Sri Rajavacha Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradadu Hitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Pratikshate Yakyakti Medvan Dvishorvaivahi kamita Sri Rajavacha Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradam Duhitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantum Randram Pratikshate Ekadakyahi me vidvan Dvishorvaivahi tamita Sri Rajavacha Katam Rukmyari Putraya Pradadu Hitaram Yudi Krishnena Paribhutastam Hantam Randram Pratikshate Etadakyahi me vidvan Dvishorvaivahi kamita Sri Rajavacha The king said, Katam, how? Rukmi, Ari, of his enemy, Putraya, to the son, Pradat, gave, Duhitaram, his daughter, Yudi, in battle, Krishnena, by Krishna, Paribhuta, defeated, Tam, him, Lord Krishna, Hantum, to kill, Randram, you gotta get the, okay, anyway, the opportunity, Pratikshate, he was waiting for, Etat, this, Akyahi, please explain, me, to me, Vidvan, O learned one, Dvisha, of the two enemies, Vaivahikam, the marital arrangement, Mitaha, between them. Translation, King Parikshit said, how could Rukmini give his daughter to his enemy's son? After all, Rukmi had been defeated by Lord Krishna in battle and was waiting for an opportunity to kill him. Please explain this to me, O learned one. how these two inimical parties became united through marriage. Please repeat. King Parikshit said, how could Rukmi give his daughter to his enemy's son? After all, Rukmi had been defeated by Lord Krishna in battle and was waiting for an opportunity to kill him. Please explain this to me, O learned one, how these two inimical parties became united through marriage. Two very short tikas by the Acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, what was the cause of marriage, vaivahikam, between mutual enemies? He's repeating the question here. And Sanat Goswami says, how did Rukmi give his daughter to the son of his enemy? He was defeated by Krishna. He was waiting or searching for an opportunity to kill Krishna. O learned Sukadev, you know the truth. Text 21. Anagatim atitam cha vartamanam atindriyam viprakprishtam vyavahitam samyak pashyanti yogina. Translation, mystic yogis can perfectly see that which has not yet happened, as well as things in the past or present, beyond the senses, remote or blocked by physical obstacles. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Here, King Parikshit encourages Shukadev Goswami to explain why Rukmi gave his daughter to Lord Krishna's son Pradyumna. The king stresses that since great yogis like Shukadev Goswami know everything, the sage must also know this and should explain it to the anxious king. And the tikas by the Goswamis, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, again, very short. In this verse, Parikshit expresses to Shukadev, you cannot say that you do not know. Jiva Goswami writes, in general, it is understood that the Lord can do what seems impossible by his will or by his Leela Shakti. But it is impossible to understand his particular plan. Yogis can know the future. You, the greatest devotee, know the particulars concerning the Lord because of your great bhakti. Sanatan Goswami writes, an explanation is given. Yogis can see the future and past and even the present beyond normal perception at a great distance or with intervening obstacles. Since yogis can see in this way, what to speak of you, the best of devotees? Or they can see Brahman, Atindriyam, which is obstructed by Maya, Vyavahitam. They see he who is most excellent, Viprakristam. Krishna, greater than Narayan, because they practice bhakti yoga. So Rukmi can definitely be seen. That's an interesting line here. They see he who is most excellent, Krishna, greater than Narayan, because they practice bhakti yoga. This is an important point. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyanan Gyanan Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitangena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gauravani Pacharni, Nirvasesa, Shunyavadi, Praschachadeshchari, Panchakalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Parikshit Maharaj is bewildered why it is that these two families, which aren't on good terms, actually it's very strange, these two families, because you have Krishna married to Rukmini, whose brother is, wants to kill Krishna. That's an insult to Rukmini, that's an insult to Rukmi, that Rukmini is married to Krishna. So it seems inconceivable that he would then allow Pradyumna, Krishna's son, to marry Rukmavati, his daughter. But this is exactly what has happened. And Parikshit is really wanting Shukadeva Goswami to explain exactly what's going on. It's made one of the points being made in these tikas is that Krishna, Jiva Goswami writes, can do what seems impossible by his will or by his Leela Shakti. And basically he can do what he wants to do. And then Sanatana Goswami saying that, of course, because you, Shukadev, you because of your bhakti, can understand Krishna, who is even greater than Narayan. So the point being here is that Krishna can do what he wants to do. He is free, and his motives, his plan really can't be completely understood. That can never be understood, but even by the devotee, except by Krishna's will. But by Krishna's will, the devotee can understand the purposes of Krishna and the what the plan is in his Leela. So this is something that it's not confidentially understood by anyone but devotees. Now, it should be understood that this discourse between Parikshit Maharaj and his guru Shukadeva Goswami is not being spoken in a vacuum. It's being spoken at a large assembly of yogis, rishis, and devotees. Many of these, and they're at all levels of spiritual understanding. Many of them are jnanis. Many of them are mystic yogis whose level of devotion to Krishna is mixed. They don't fully understand pure devotional service. And of course, there are pure devotees there also. So it's very important that Parikshit Maharaj, through his questioning, clarifies the position of pure devotion to those who aren't pure devotees in the audience. And Srila Prabhupada had this task, of course, especially in the beginning, but it's still ongoing, that whenever there's an assembly of devotees or personalities coming together to hear the Bhagavatam, there are so many different levels of understanding in amongst the listeners, so that the speaker, when one speaks, one has to speak in such a way that everyone is included. And that means not to speak in a way that only the highest personalities will understand, nor speak in a way that is not relevant at all to those who are at high level. And this is something that Srila Prabhupada had mastered, because Srila Prabhupada, as a pure devotee, could read everything in an audience and read everyone's mood. And therefore he knew how to speak to any given audience. And in general, we see how Prabhupada actually spoke both tattva and lila in a mix that was appropriate for us to understand. So this is Parikshit Maharaj asking Shukadev to give the appropriate answer here so that everybody could understand how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is able to apparently break rules that no one would break in this material world, which is two dire enemies have their offspring marry one another. Actually, there should be an asterisk there when we talk about two dire enemies, because many times kings, for only political purposes, they might have been a dire enemy with some other king, and therefore they would try somehow or other to make an alliance by a marriage between their offspring. But Krishna is not playing that sort of game, but rather he has other intentions. If we turn to Srila Prabhupada's own words, he speaks about this matter of the devotee having pure vision, because it's this pure vision that allows the pure devotee to give Krishna consciousness in a way in which everyone can be enlightened. And therefore, the pure devotee has knowledge given to him by Krishna that is not necessarily understandable by anybody else. In fact, it can't be understood by anyone else. Srila Prabhupada, from a lecture in 1968 in San Francisco, speaks about Trikalagya, or understanding everything within the three phases of time: past, present, and future. Prabhupada speaks, the sages were known as Trikalagya. Tri means three. There is almost similarity, tri and three. Tri in Sanskrit and three is English or Latin, but there is similarity. Trikalagya. Tri means three, and kala means time. Time is experienced by three ways: past, present, and future. Time limitation, past, present. And whatever you speak of time, it is past, present, or future. So the sages in those days were Trikalagya. Trikalagya means they could understand, they could know what was in the past, what there shall be in the future, and what is at present. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, you, me, I, and all these kings and soldiers who have assembled in this battlefield, they are all individuals, and we are still individual. And in the past, in the future, we shall remain individuals. That past, present, and future, he explained. Another place, Krishna says, Vedaham samatitani. Atitani means past. Vartamani cha, and present. So that is yogic power. One can know past, present, and future. Again, another lecture in 1976 in Detroit. This is called Trikalagya, past, present, and future. So Yamaraj, or Lord Brahma, or great personalities, they, even great sages, saintly persons, they know the three features of time. In the Bhagavatam, in the third canto, chapter 11, verse number 17, Vidura is asking Maitreya, and Vidura and Maitreya speak, Maitreya teaching Vidura for many chapters of the third canto. And this particular chapter actually is dealing with the nature of the yugas and the nature of the different planetary systems, higher and lower. So it's a sort of a technical topic. But the point being is that in the middle of this topic of where Maitreya is speaking, Vidura asks for clarification in verse 16. Actually, I can read verse 16. Vidura said, I now understand the life durations of the residents of the Pita planets and heavenly planets, as well as that of the human beings. Now kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa, which a kalpa, of course, is 3 yugas, all 4 yugas in a cycle. And then he says in verse number 17, Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishvam Vikchakshate Dira Yoga Radena Chakshusha. O spiritually powerful one, Bhagavan. He's calling Maitreya Bhagavan here. And sometimes Bhagavan is used not just for Krishna. O spiritually powerful one, you can understand the movements of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. So Maitreya has the power of mystic vision, and Shukadeva Goswami has the power of mystic vision. But they don't have the power of mystic vision on their own. They have the power of mystic vision because of their level of Krishna consciousness. In other words, at a very high level of Krishna consciousness, Krishna can't inform the pure devotee of whatever the pure devotee needs to know in order to engage in his service, whether it's teaching or guiding a disciple or making plans for the future, like building temples, etc. So Prabhupada says here in his purport to this verse, which we can relate to the verse we're speaking about today. Those who have reached the highest perfectional stage of mystic power and can see everything in the past, present, and future are called Trikalagyas. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord can see everything clearly that is in the revealed scriptures. The devotees of Lord Sri Krishna can very, very easily understand the science of Krishna as well as the situation of the material and spiritual creations without difficulty. In other words, there are yogic cities where a yogi will meditate for a very long time. I mean, describe sometimes thousands of years, in order to gain this trikalagya, this ability to penetrate into the mysteries of time, or the mysteries of psychology or human motivations, so that they can know everything. But a devotee can know everything just as the mystic yogi very easily. But the yogi is intentionally doing this for for his own benefit, her own benefit. But the devotee is doing everything as part of the process of Krishna consciousness, so that by Krishna's grace, the devotee gets the same mystic powers as a yogi. But they're not gotten through great difficulty. They're gotten as a sort of byproduct of his pure devotion. Devotees do not have to endeavor for any yoga siddhi or perfection in mystic powers. They are competent to understand everything by the grace of the Lord, who is sitting in everyone's heart. So Parikshit Maharaj knows that Shukadeva Goswami is on this platform, that he's competent to understand everything by the grace of the Lord, and therefore he's going to be able to explain to him why it is that these two families, Krishna's family and the family of Rukmi, somehow or other are going to join together through the marriage of Pradyumna and Rukmavati. So, what does this mean for us? I mean, do we have vision of Trikaligya? Are we understanding everything in the past, present, and future? And should we even be interested in that? Actually, knowing the future might not be a very good thing. And penetrating into the past probably will also not be a very good thing. We have enough trouble dealing with just the present moment, which is the present moment should be used to remember Krishna and not to dwell on the past and the future or to dwell on so many material desires. So if we look at other verses in the Bhagavad Gita, there are a number of verses which spell out what it is that we actually should be perfecting or trying to know. Chapter 7, verse number 26. Vedaham samatitani vartamanani charjuna bhavishyani chabutani mam tu veda nakaschana. O Arjuna, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, I know everything that has happened in the past, all that is happening in the present, and all things that are yet to come. I know all living entities, but me no one knows. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, unlike the ordinary human being, Krishna clearly says that he completely knows what happened in the past, what is happening in the present, and what will happen in the future. In the 4th chapter, we have seen that Lord Krishna remembers instructing Vivaswan, the sun god, millions of years ago. And Arjuna, of course, couldn't remember that. Krishna knows every living entity because he is situated in every living being's heart as the supersoul. By his internal, as it is stated in the 3rd verse of this chapter, out of millions and millions of men, some try to become perfect in this human form of life. And out of thousands and thousands of such perfected men, hardly one can understand what Lord Krishna is. So the point being is that Krishna knows everything, but we are meant not to try to know everything, but to try to understand Krishna and our relationship with Krishna. And if we understand that relationship with Krishna and act in Krishna consciousness, we may or may not become Trikaligya, but we will be situated in properly. And if Krishna so desires, we can have all knowledge. And if Krishna so desires, we won't have any knowledge. But it doesn't matter what knowledge we have or don't have of so many things outside of our relationship with Krishna. The only thing that really matters is that we have our relationship with Krishna. Krishna states in the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text number 26, famous verse, Mam cha yo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samatityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. And Prabhupada writes in his purport, because Arjuna asks questions at the beginning of the 14th chapter, and Prabhupada writes, this verse is a reply to Arjuna's 3rd question. What is the means of attaining to the transcendental position? Because it's the transcendental position that we're interested in, not in what comes out of that transcendental position. Certainly, in the case of Shukadeva Goswami having to explain so many things to Parikshit Maharaj, he has certain powers that are coming from his position, but it's not the powers that's really important. It's coming to this transcendental position. As explained before, the material world is acting under the spell of the modes of material nature. One should not be disturbed by the activities of the modes of nature. Instead of putting his consciousness into such activities, he may transfer his consciousness to Krishna activities. Krishna activities are known as bhakti yoga, always acting for Krishna. This includes not only Krishna, but his different plenary expansions such as Ram and Narayan. He has innumerable expansions. To be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. What is that equality? It's not equality as in the sense that I become Krishna or I become as great as Krishna. But that equality is explained by Prabhupada as the Lord says that his nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. Thus, the living entity in his spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality. The difference of individuality continues, otherwise there would be no question of bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga means there has to be the devotee and there has to be Krishna. Because without an exchange of love, that's the goal, is the exchange of love. Bhakti yoga means that the Lord is there, the devotee is there, and the activity of exchange of love between the Lord and the devotee is there. So the whole Bhagavatam is an exploration of this exchange of love. And sometimes it takes different forms. Sometimes it looks like mystic yoga, and sometimes it looks like total bewilderment. But it doesn't matter whether it's total bewilderment or it's trikalagya. The real issue is are we connecting with Krishna, and through that connection, are we pleasing Krishna? And then through Krishna's reciprocation to us, are we becoming peaceful, happy, and satisfied because we're properly situated? So, this is a lesson we need to take, is that Parikshit Maharaj is becoming peaceful, satisfied, and happy, even towards the moment of death, because he's hearing from a pure devotee, Shukadeva Goswami, who by his connection with Krishna knows everything he needs to know to help Parikshit be happy, peaceful, and successful in his own Krishna consciousness at the time of death. So this is what we need to strive for. We need to strive to become followers of Parikshit Maharaj, followers of Shukadeva Goswami, and understand our position in relation with Krishna. And then we, as they say, let the chips fall where they may. It's up to Krishna. But we're protected by Krishna, and Krishna will give us whatever we need to be successful in our Krishna consciousness. Let me stop there. Questions, comments, complaints?
It's amazing that how these yogis could see past, present, and future. So it's quite interesting. The more they went into bhakti, they could do that.
But bhakti is the point.
Yeah.
Because once Prabhupada was, when he was at the Kumbh Mela in 1977, somebody from another camp, another yoga camp, came up to him and said, "Just see, here's my Guru Maharaj, he's walking across water. What do you think?" And Prabhupada says, "I think it's worth 5 paisa." And he said, what do you mean 5 paisa? They don't even use paisa anymore because they're so worthless. Back in 77, they still did, which means like less than a penny. And he says, what do you mean? He says, well, for 5 paisa, I can, get a ride on a boat and do the same thing. Because the question is not the power, the question is the devotion. And if we get powers by devotion, then those powers have a purpose. And if we don't get the powers by devotion, but by some endeavor in this world, whether it's scientific or mystic, we can be so great and do so many things, but at the time of death, we don't know where we're going. And we may end up, on 4 legs. We don't know. But as a devotee, we know that we have a destination which is, whatever it is, it's good. And the Bhagavad Gita makes that clear. Whatever our destination is at the time of death, if we remember Krishna, our destination is good. Yes.
The most important factor here is to see Krishna's hand everywhere, in everything.
See Krishna's hand in everything. This is a great point. Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Ako Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Kriya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Chiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham
Jaya Radhe, Jaya Krishna, Jaya Jaya Vrindavan.
Jaya Vrindavan.
Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan. Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan. Jamuna Jaya Mahavan. Keshi Gata Vamsi Bhata Dwadasha Kanan. Jasabalila Kailo Ashinandananda. Srinanda Jashoda Jaya Jaya Gopagan. Sridhamari Jaya Jaya Renuvatsagan. Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Zundari. Jaya Vrishabhanu Jaya Kirtida Zundari. Jaya Purnamasi Jaya Virnagari. Jaya Jaya Gopishvara Vrindavanama. Jaya Jaya Gopishvara Vrindavanama. Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhakti Dvijarat. Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Bhakti Dvijarat. Jaya Ramagata Jaya Rohini Nandan. Rohini Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Basi Jata Jaya Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Dvija Patni Jaya Naga Kanyagan Bhakti Te Jahara Pailo Govinda Charan Shri Rasa Mandala Jaya Jaya Radha Shyam Rasa Mandala Jaya 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 Rasa Leela Sarva Manaram Jaya Jaya Jala Rasa Sarva Rasa Bharati Abhave Ja Brajate Praja Shri Jana Vapada Padma Gauriya Smaran Gauriya Smaran Dina Krishna Dasa Koi Nama Sankirtan Koi Nama Sankirtan Dina Krishna Dasa Koi Nama Sankirtan Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Shri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Jaya Radha Golokananda Radhe Radhe Shyam Ya Radha Golokananda Radhe Radhe Shyam Lokananda Shri Radhe Jai Gaura Haribo, 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 Jai Gaura Haribo, Nitai Gauranga Jai, Nitai Gauranga. Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Jai Sachinandana, Gaurati. Hare, Jai Hare, Jai Hare, Jai Shri Hare. Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Dham. Giri Govardhan Giri Govardhan Jaya Shri Vrindavan Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Please join us. All glories to Radha Krishna and the divine forest of Vrindavan. All glories to the priests, presiding deities of Vrindavan, Sri Govinda Gopinath and Madana Mohan. All glories to Shamakunda, Radhakunda, Govardhan Hill, and the Yamuna River. All glories to the great forest known as Mahavan. All glories to Keshigata, the Vamsivata tree, and the 12 forests of Vraja. At these places, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, performed all of his pastimes. All glories to Krishna's divine father and mother, Nanda and Yashoda. All glories to the cowherd boys headed by Sridham. All glories to the cows and calves of Vraja. All glories to Radha's divine father and mother, Vrishabhanu, and the beautiful Kirtida. All glories to Purnamasi, the mother of Sandipani Muni. All glories to the young Mahavrains of Vraja. All glories to Gopishwar Siva, who resides in Vrindavan in order to protect the holy Dham. All glories to Krishna's funny Brahmana friend, Madhu Mangala. All glories to Ramaghat, where Lord Balaram performed his rasa dance. All glories to Lord Balaram, the son of Rohini. All glories to all of the residents of Vrindavan. All glories to the wives of the proud Vedic Brahmanas. All glories to the wives of the Kaliya serpent. Through pure devotion, they all obtained the lotus feet of Lord Govinda. All glories to the place where the rasa dance of Sri Krishna was performed. All glories to Radha and Shyam. All glories to the divine rasa dance, which is the most beautiful of all Lord Krishna's pastime. All glories to the mellow conjugal love, which is the most constant of all. By Sri Krishna, in the form of the divine Parakiya Bhava. Remember